here on The Bill Press Show.
This is The Bill Press Show.
Don't look at me. Your hair's a bit frizzy today. Aww, you should pick that up. Oh, you're such a dork. Loser. Here, let me help you with that. Oops.
Every day, kids witness bullying.
Oh, look. Your crush is looking at you. Poor you.
They want to help, but don't know how.
See, no one here's gonna help you, because no one
Teach your
likes
kids how to be more than a bystander. Visit stopbullying.gov.
If you drive buzzed, it could cost you around $10,000. You'll face major legal fees, major fines, and steep insurance penalties. You could lose everything. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving.
When some people struggle with their mortgage payments, they become frozen, petrified. Not knowing what to do, they do nothing. But the people who take action are far more likely to get the most positive outcome. Making home affordable is a free government program. Call now to talk one-on-one with a housing expert about the options that are right for you. Real help, real answers, right now.
Here at the GED Pep Talk Center, we have pep talkers standing by to get you motivated for your GED diploma. Text the name Terry to 69222 for a sympathetic pep talk.
You show people what you really are.
Or for a gentle pep talk, text the name Deborah.
You know you're going to make people very proud of you.
And if that's not enough, text the name Danny for an extreme pep talk.
Prove everyone wrong. Show them you're the boss.
Get your GED pep talk and find free GED classes. Text the name of the person you want a pep talk from to 69222.
Did you see the world differently? Did you celebrate the victory?
So today, I state clearly and with conviction America's commitment to seek the peace and security of a world without nuclear weapons.
Did you stand up against our greatest threat? Change the world.
On your radio, on your TV, and online. This is The Bill Press Show.
And now it's up to Congress. Hey, what do you say? Hello, everybody. Good Tuesday morning. Great to see you today. Welcome to The Bill Press Show here. Coming to you live all the way across this great land of ours on your local progressive talk radio station this Tuesday morning. Hope you had a great weekend. And here we are. We are back in action. Boy, a lot going on this weekend. We've been waiting to talk about all weekend long with all of you. So it's so good to see you today. And the entire team is here. We want to not only tell you what's going on, but of course get your comments by phone at 866-55-PRESS, on Twitter at BP Show, and on Facebook at facebook.com/BillPressShow. And today, we told you we're going to be up on Free Speech TV today, but didn't make it. We had a little technical glitch, so we're going to do another week of testing here. We will definitely be up on Free Speech TV. However, for those of you who want to watch on television, next Monday, September 9, just put it off 1 week. And we are up, though, online today. You can watch us online, stream the show online live at youtube.com/TalkerTV. Don't forget special spelling of Talker, TAWKR, TAWKR.TV. Did I get that right, Peter?
You got it, sir. Yes,
all right.
Indeed.
So just enjoy having you with us. Grateful to have you with us on your local Progressive Talk Radio station, or at Talker TV, if youtube.com/Talker TV. If you're watching online, the entire team is here this morning. Peter Ogburn and Dan Henning. Hello, guys.
Hey.
Good morning.
Good weekend? Everything
Great
good?
weekend.
Lots done?
Great weekend.
Yeah. I wouldn't say I got a lot done.
Well, the object is not to get a lot done. The object is to have a good time.
We had a great thing last night because it was the last day of the pool. You know, the pool was closing down yesterday because it's Labor Day. So in my neighborhood, what they do is everybody that has a dog can bring their dog in, and the dogs get to swim in the pool.
No.
That's the last swim of the season. All the dogs get in, and then
Why would they close the pool? I mean, September's not cold.
No, not necessarily.
All public pools here close Labor Day.
It's Labor Day.
Really?
Is sort of the
yeah,
cutoff.
Memorial Day to Labor Day.
Yeah.
They shut down.
That's how it
a
goes.
thing.
Huh. All right.
But all the dogs got in and
that's cool.
Had fun and made a giant mess, and then nobody wants to get in the pool after that, so they close it down.
Do they have lifeguards for the dogs?
Mm-mm.
No?
No.
Oh.
The lifeguards are already done.
No. Okay, good. Alicia Cruz is here on the phones, as always, and Cyprian Bolding here on the video cam for those of you watching online at youtube.com/TalkerTV. And I got to tell you, it was inspiring yesterday to see she finally made it. Diana Nyad made that swim. Unbelievable. From Havana to Key West. Took her 53 hours. She has tried it 4 times before. This time she made it. Her first attempt was in 1978 when she was 28 years old.
It's amazing.
The last time she did it was we talked about it then, a couple of years ago. She was 62, now 64 years old, and she finally got it. The weather cooperated, the currents cooperated, and she figured out how to deal with these damn box jellyfish, and made it. She came up. She could barely walk and barely talk, understandably. Made it up out of the surf, walked in and said she's got 3 lessons learned.
I got 3 messages. One is we should never, ever give up.
And she didn't, baby.
Okay. 2 is you're never too old to chase your dreams. That's right.
What does she do next?
3 is it looks like a solitary sport, but it's a team.
She did have a whole team with her that followed her along and made sure she was safe and gave her food and drink when they could, and then when she got close to Key West, she had a group of shark divers ahead of her that got the jellyfish out of the way.
She sounds, she's slurring there.
Yeah.
Her lips
were
so swollen.
Right.
From, all the salt water and all this. I mean, it was amazing. She looked freakish.
She really did. And they put her on a stretcher and put her in an ambulance and took her to the hospital. Checked her out, but she was released a couple of hours later. Unbelievable. Good for her. Hey, we got a great lineup for you today. Eleanor Holmes Norton, Congresswoman from District of Columbia, is going to be here with us, as well as Michael Tomasky from Daily Beast, one of your favorites. One of our favorites. Here's a friend of Bill, and our Tuesday favorite, Igor Volsky from Think Progress, will be along as well. And yes, Syria now is in the lap of Congress. We'll tell you how that happened, but first.
This is the Full Court Press.
On this Tuesday, other headlines making news. Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg became the first Supreme Court justice to officiate a same-sex wedding over the weekend. Washington Post reports Ginsburg married Michael Kaiser and John Roberts here in Washington. Kaiser is the president of the Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts. That's also...
No, not that other John Roberts.
I was going to say, I think it's wonderful that the Chief Justice
the Chief Justice is finally getting married.
Yeah, no relation to the Chief Justice. The wedding was held at the Kennedy Center, and Ginsburg going to do it again. She's got another same-sex wedding to officiate on her calendar later this month.
Good for her. Congratulations to the happy couple. It was Saturday night, I think, at the Kennedy Center, right? Yeah.
Leaving his girlfriend and new baby at home, Kanye West is back on the road working again. Over the weekend, the R&B star was in Kazakhstan, where he was paid $3 million to play at the wedding of the daughter of that country's president. TMZ reporting Kanye now getting a load of criticism because of the human rights abuses in that country. Yeah. Sting had to cancel a planned performance there a couple of years ago because of how the government treats its people. I mean, but Kanye did not quit.
I was just going to say, it's pretty gross for U.S. entertainers to go to those countries and get that kind of money. First of all, a country with such a horrible human rights record. And then imagine like what the average income probably is in Kazakhstan.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and he gets $3 million for one performance. God, that's sick.
And
gross.
Speaking of a lot of money, the Real Madrid soccer team has paid what is believed to be the highest price ever for a soccer player. New York Times reporting over the weekend they have paid $130 million to the Tottenham Hotspur team to acquire midfielder Gareth Bale. That's about $9 million more than what the team paid to get the legendary player Cristiano Ronaldo 4 years ago. Interesting to note, the Spanish soccer team would pay this much money to get a player when its country, Spain, is having the bad economic problems.
Yeah. Oh no. Yeah, but those team owners,
it's a lot of money.
I got to tell you, I'm starting to get the feeling they take soccer more seriously in Europe than we do here.
I think that's a pretty safe assumption.
Am I too far off there?
I think you nailed it.
Man, I got to tell you, boy. Got serious about Syria over the weekend. Did it ever? It started on Friday, of course, when Secretary of State John Kerry from the treaty room at the State Department laid out the case against Syria. It was reminiscent of Colin Powell laying out the case against Iraq in front of the United Nations. Except this time, Kerry, I thought, had more credibility and more facts and more evidence. He did a great job. I thought he laid it out and said, "Look, we know this. We know this. We know this. We know this. We know weapons were used." He added yesterday, "We know what weapon was used: sarin gas, one of the most deadly poisonous gases." He said, "We know that the Syrian military did it. We have the intercepts to show who gave the orders. We know that they kept first responders out of the area who might have been able to help some of those people, up to 1,400 dead." He says, "We know also that the Syrian government kept the UN inspectors out so that they couldn't get in there right away and get the evidence of chemical weapon use." Laid out a very strong case, and then we knew, well, the next thing is the president's, all we're waiting for now is for the president to drop the other shoe. It was a late morning, maybe mid-morning Saturday, when I and other White House reporters got the message, okay, the president's coming out to make a statement in the Rose Garden at 1:15. It was too late for me to get down to the White House when I got the message, actually. So the press who were already there, the pooled press, are the only ones who got to cover it. And I sat down to watch this. I'm sure most of you did. That if you did, you sat down to hear the president say, okay, we have U.S. planes or whatever have struck Syria, or U.S. cruise missiles have struck Syria, or boom, 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 and here's where we did, and here's what we did, and how long it's going to last. But the president surprised the hell out of all of us by saying, I have made up my mind that I'm convinced that these weapons were used. I'm convinced the Syrian government are the ones responsible. I have made up my mind that a military response is justified and must happen. But then the surprise. And he said, we are ready to go at any time. Here's the but. But I'm not going to do so without having Congress come back and debate this and vote on it. That's what I said. The president did not make this point, but that's what he said as a candidate back in 2007. And some 200 members of Congress had said, we want to debate this issue before the president takes any action. And so he said, all right, you get your chance. He said, I'm ready to go, but Congress has got to do its thing.
I'm ready to act in the face of this outrage. Today I'm asking Congress to send a message to the world that we are ready to move forward together as one nation.
So Congress, come on back and do your thing.
But all members of Congress of both parties, I ask you to take this vote for our national security. I am looking forward to the debate.
And already then, the president started a full court press, if you will, to convince members of Congress to vote for this military, to support this military action. Sunday, there was a rare briefing on Capitol Hill, even though Congress is they're out of session. A rare briefing on Capitol Hill for members of Congress who were able to get to town or happened to live nearby. Yesterday, also, Labor Day, the president welcomed Senator John McCain and Senator Lindsey Graham to the White House to do some one-on-one lobbying with them. It worked with John McCain. He's fully on board.
We need to see that plan. We need to see that strategy articulated. We also have to make it clear that a vote against this would be catastrophic in its consequences, not only as far as this issue is concerned, but in the future.
So my question to you is threefold, I guess. Has the president made the right decision in terms of a military strike against Syria based on the evidence? Secondly, did he do the right thing in calling on Congress to debate this and to vote on it and waiting until Congress acts, which, by the way, they're not coming back. He didn't call them back into special session. They don't come back from this long break until the 9th of September. So this won't happen until a week from now, next week, not this week. And the third question is, what do you think Congress will do? A lot of people are saying, there's no chance the president's going to get the vote for this. Congress will reject as they rejected anything else Barack Obama wanted, they will reject this. What do you think? 866-55-PRESS. I got to tell you, from my point of view, I think the president did absolutely the right thing. Legally, morally, and politically. Legally, because Constitution says only Congress has a right to declare war. Morally, because we don't want a dictator. We're not a dictatorship. This is not Syria. No president, should be able to act and take us to war without Congress being involved. That's what our system of government is all about. And thirdly, politically, I love it. He's just, he's not going alone. He is putting the test to members of Congress and making them all stand up, not just talk, not just mouth off, but stand up and actually go on record. Vote up or down. Vote yes or no. And you know what? I'm sure some members of Congress are not happy with that. They said they wanted to vote, but I don't think they really did. Now they've got to go on the record. As somebody said over the weekend, this is like the dog that finally caught the car. Whoop! Now what the hell do we do? So let us know. Did military strike, yes or no? President do the right thing, yes or no? And what will Congress do? Approve it or not? Yes or no? 866-55-PRESS on the Full Court Press.
This is the Bill Press Show.
Don't look at me. Your hair's a bit frizzy today. Oh, you should pick that up. Oh, you're such a dork, loser. Here, let me help you with that. Oops.
Every day, kids witness bullying.
Oh, look. Your crush is looking at you. Poor you.
They want to help, but don't know how.
See, no one here's gonna help you, because no one
Teach your
likes
kids how to be more than a bystander. Visit stopbullying.gov.
If you drive buzzed, it could cost you around $10,000. you'll face major legal fees, major fines, and steep insurance penalties. You could lose everything. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving.
When some people struggle with their mortgage payments, they become frozen, petrified. Not knowing what to do, they do nothing. But the people who take action are far more likely to get the most positive outcome. Making home affordable is a free government program. Call now to talk one-on-one with a housing expert about the options that are right for you. Real help, real answers, right now.
Here at the GED Pep Talk Center, we have pep talkers standing by to get you motivated for your GED diploma. Text the name Terry to 69222 for a sympathetic pep talk.
You show people what you really are.
Or for a gentle pep talk, text the name Deborah.
You know you're going to make people very proud of you.
And if that's not enough, text the name Danny for an extreme pep talk.
Prove everyone wrong. Show them you're the boss.
Get your GED pep talk and find free GED classes. Text the name of the person you want a pep talk from to 69222.
Did you see the world differently? Did you celebrate the victory?
So today, I state clearly and with conviction America's commitment to seek the peace and security of a world without nuclear weapons.
Did you stand up against our greatest threat? Change the world.
Get social with Bill Press. Like us at facebook.com/Bill Press Show. This is the Bill Press Show.
25 minutes after the hour, some members of Congress, we heard John McCain saying he fully supports what the president is asking for. Other members of Congress have already gone on record on the other side. Sam Farr, congressman from California, from the Monterey Carmel Big Sur area, said he could not support military action without the full support of U.S. allies and, quote, a firm case that our national security is at risk. Congress now will get the chance to debate that. Did the president do the right thing in tossing the ball to them? 866-55-PRESS. Brian's on the phone from Chicago, Illinois. Hey, Brian, good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, what do you think?
Well, I think the president needs to save face. I mean, common sense would tell you that there's been so much time between what happened with the sarin gas to the time of right now that there's no way that we're going to go in there and do a strike, because I mean, how many people did they take out of their citizens? 1,400, 1,500?
They say up to 1,400, yeah.
Okay. If we went in there with an airstrike of some sort and did a strike against them, we're going to take out a lot more innocent people than we are people that actually had anything to do with this. And I think this is just the president's way of looking at an out for himself. He came across, he made a bold statement, said, if they do this, I'm going to do this. Hard line. Now, this is his way out. He gets to blame Congress and say, well, Congress wouldn't allow me to do it.
So isn't it sort of damned if you do, damned if you don't? If he had done it without, I mean, a lot of people were criticizing him for making a decision without consulting Congress. Now he does consult Congress, and you blame him for that.
Well, no, here's the thing. I mean, the president is the president. People are going to criticize him no matter what he does. At the end of the day, sometimes you just got to stand up and do what you believe is right.
So you think he should have gone on his own? All right. Got it, Brian. Tim's listening on WCPT in Chicago also. Hey, Tim, good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to kind of agree with Brian there, where he is damned if he does. You're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. But I don't think that this is, the amount of time that's passed doesn't really matter. I think that something should be done. Would it be a military strike? I can't say that for sure, but I do think that he did the right thing by going on TV and putting it in Congress's hands. Because, as we know from Congress now, the only thing they can do is pass anything to try to repeal the Affordable Health Care Act, and anything that wants your vagina, they can reject it.
Yeah. I love challenging Congress. Make them put the money where their mouth is.
This is the Bill Press Show.
Determine if you're...
Don't look at me. Your hair's a bit frizzy today. Oh, you should pick that up. Oh, you're such a dork, loser. Here, let me help you with that. Oops.
Every day, kids witness bullying.
Oh, look. Your crush is looking at you. Poor you.
They want to help, but don't know how.
See, no one here's gonna help you, because no one
Teach your
likes
kids how to be more than a bystander. Visit stopbullying.gov.
If you drive buzzed, it could cost you around $10,000. You'll face major legal fees, major fines, and steep insurance penalties. You could lose everything. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving.
When some people struggle with their mortgage payments, they become frozen, petrified. Not knowing what to do, they do nothing. But the people who take action are far more likely to get the most positive outcome. Making home affordable is a free government program. Call now to talk one-on-one with a housing expert about the options that are right for you. Real help, real answers, right now.
Here at the GED Pep Talk Center, we have pep talkers standing by to get you motivated for your GED diploma. Text the name Terry to 69222 for a sympathetic pep talk.
You show people what you really are.
Or for a gentle pep talk, text the name Deborah.
You know, you're going to make people very proud of you.
And if that's not enough, text the name Danny for an extreme pep talk.
Prove everyone wrong. Show them you're the boss.
Get your GED pep talk and find free GED classes. Text the name of the person you want a pep talk from to 69222.
Follow us on Twitter @BP Show. This is The Bill Press Show.
Here we are, day after Labor Day, Tuesday, September 3rd, here on the Full Court Press, coming to you live from our nation's capital, our studio on Capitol Hill. We're joined in studio now, as we are every Tuesday morning, by the managing editor of Think Progress. They're all over the Syria issue, as well as every other issue in the news today. Igor Volsky. Hello, Igor. Good morning.
Good morning.
And we're talking about the president's decision announced Saturday from the Rose Garden, saying he'd made up his mind a military strike would be justified. The military told him they're ready to go at any time, but he wasn't going to make that move without giving Congress a chance to debate the issue and vote on it, as many members of Congress had requested. One member of Congress, a good friend of ours from the neighboring state of Maryland, Congressman Elijah Cummings, joins us on our news line this morning. Happened to be driving in, listening to the program, and wanted to join in the conversation. Hey, Congressman, always good to have you with us. Good morning, sir.
It's good to be with you.
Did the president do the right thing in asking Congress to participate?
Absolutely. I don't think he had he had a choice, but I think he had to do that. And I was glad that he did. I've now, Bill...
I'm going to ask you, the next question is, how are you going to vote?
I honestly do not know. And I need a lot more information. I've attended the briefing, the classified briefing. I sat in an hour and a half, almost 2 hours yesterday, listening to Secretary Hagel, Secretary Kerry, Miss Rice, Susan Rice, Ambassador Rice, and Clapper of the CIA.
Whoa.
And so I've heard a lot, but there's still a lot of questions that I think any member of Congress who says they're going to vote one way or another, I'm surprised, because I think if you're going to make a rational decision, we have to have more information. As a matter of fact, today I'm going to be reviewing 12 pages of classified documents that supposedly will provide even more data regarding the extent and how the government determined that these chemical weapons may have been used. So but there are a lot of questions, and one of the questions is this. First of all, I'd like to know, if we don't act, what is the significance of that? What are the ramifications of that? Number two, if we go in there and we discover that it's more, that we have to do more than just a targeted strike, what then? Because the president has said no boots on the ground. As a matter of fact, yesterday Secretary Kerry told us that there are absolutely no boots on the ground. I had another question, which I think I'm pretty convinced now. I was asking, was there absolutely these biological chemical weapons being used? I'm pretty convinced that did happen.
That did happen.
Yeah, they had to get past that one. Then they got to answer from my constituents. I'm gonna tell you, I have now probably talked to about 1,000 of my constituents, and I have gotten at least 1,000 phone calls, and 95% of them are against this.
Yeah.
And so then the question becomes, and what I'm saying to the administration, since this is so egregious, and I do believe that it is, that is the use of chemical weapons, they need to explain to the public why that's so significant. See, I think that's something that's missing, Bill. And you sit there and your guests sit there, and you probably have a pretty good idea of what these chemical weapons can do and what they're all about. But the administration, I think, is talking above people's heads. Because when I talk to well-educated people, they tell me, well, Cummings, look, 100,000 were killed before now. What's the big deal?
Yeah.
I did television interviews yesterday. The first question the reporters asked is, what's the big deal with these chemical weapons? And what I'm saying to Kerry, I've got a call into him today, I'm saying to him that they've got to go out there and they've got to sell this to the American people, too, not just to Congress. Because, look, if I've got 95% of my constituents saying don't go in, that makes it very, very difficult.
Congressman, you say that you're convinced that chemical weapons were used. Are you also convinced that the Syrian government are the ones that launched them, that gave the orders, and not the Syrian rebels?
Yes. I am. Okay. Based upon all the information that I've seen, again, I'm going to see some more today, but I am. And I've got to tell you, I went in very skeptical. And keep in mind, there's another piece of this bill that a lot of people don't think about. You probably say, Cummings, not 95% of your constituents against this. Yeah, 95%. You know why? Part of it has to do with Iraq. They have that backdrop.
That's the problem, right?
Yeah, they have that backdrop, and they think about, like a fellow said to me, he said, when Colin Powell came on TV, he said, I trusted Colin Powell probably more than almost anybody other than my wife. And he said, when he came on TV and said that, I said, okay. If anybody else had said it, I wouldn't have said okay. And he said, when I found out that he had inaccurate information, he says, well, wait a minute, then we go to 10 years of war on inaccurate information?
Yeah.
So you got that backdrop. Right. So anybody who says, any member of Congress who says this is an easy decision, I don't know what they're thinking about.
Congressman, given the scope, this is Igor Volsky from Think Progress, given the scope, given Iraq and the history there, are you concerned about the scope of the resolution? There was concern this weekend that maybe the initial language the administration drafted was too broad, and now this effort to contain it, make sure there are no boots on the ground, put some timetables in place of when the administration can act. Is that important to you, that this be a very limited measure? I'm
so glad you asked that question. Not only is it important to me, I would venture to guess it's important to at least 60% of the Congress.
Yeah.
And that's what I've been hearing a lot. And I've gone on record in the New York Times and the Post saying that the language has got to be narrowed. I mean, when you look at this language, man, we can be at war, and we can be at war 30 years from now. I mean, really.
Yeah.
And keep in mind,
it's sort of like the resolution for the use of force in Iraq, huh?
Yeah. I mean,
after 9/11.
You got to keep in mind the backdrop. That's right. This was about to say, Bill, the backdrop of Iraq, and I think Iraq makes this decision probably twice as difficult than it normally would have been. You follow me?
Absolutely.
But see, they got to deal with the public. One of the things I'm saying to Kerry, I got a call into him today. Like I said, I'm going to say to him, you need to have people on TV, on some of these national shows, and the Bill Press show, talking about some medical type, talking about why it is that 98% of all the countries in the world have said that use of biological and chemical weapons is out of bounds when it comes to warfare.
Yep.
That's very significant because
people don't in our lifetime they haven't been used really, right? I mean, we were talking back
Saddam
World
War
the
last
One,
one, and World War One back,
yeah. So people don't fully comprehend it. Yeah. And then the other thing that complicated is, like I said, the 100,000 that had already been killed before this 1,400 and some had been killed by chemical weapons.
We've heard that, Congressman, from many of our our listeners here on the program as well. Well, it's not an easy decision, but you certainly are putting your time and effort into it, and doing what you should do in terms of representing the people.
To me, there are many decisions. Sometimes God puts you in certain positions to make decisions that have nothing to do with politics. It's about what is right. It's about protecting the world. And like I said, I haven't really decided, but I've got to figure all of this out. And I know, and I pray that God will lead me in the right direction.
Well, we'll be following the debate and following your efforts as well, Congressman. Check back in with us, will you?
I promise you I will. I promise.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank Congressman Elijah Cummings from the state of Maryland, wrestling with this issue. Now, Igor, you at Think Progress went out and basically looked at what all members of Congress are doing, right? And
well,
what did you find out?
I did. Before I get into those numbers, let me just say he touched on something very important, and that is 95% of his phone calls say, don't go into Syria. I looked at maybe 200 Facebook pages for members of Congress, and I can tell you, of those 200, I didn't see a single comment from a constituent saying, go into Syria. Everyone who talked about Syria on those Facebook pages said, don't touch Syria. It was overwhelming on Facebook, on Twitter. So what he's hearing, I suspect, members across the country are
well, we're hearing
experiencing
it here too.
the same thing. You're hearing it,
some of the reasoning is what he said. Look, they already killed 100,000 people with conventional weapons. So what's the big deal about chemical weapons? I think there's an answer to that, but we hear that. And the other thing is, yeah, maybe somebody's got to do something, but why does it have to be us? And third, they lied to us about Iraq. Why should we believe them now?
Well, and of course, you start with one attack, and where does that lead you? If Assad acts again, do you respond in a harder way? But the numbers here, we looked at 215 members of Congress. Of those, 122 said they're not going to vote for the resolution, or they're leaning against voting for the resolution. Now, obviously, Republicans are far less likely to support action than Democrats, but even Democrats, there are very few strong yeses on that list.
Wait, whoa.
Reversal.
The Republican Party is supposed to be the national security party.
Yeah.
They're supposed to be the ones who are tough on dictators and tough on regimes that anybody who would use chemical weapons. Why would Republicans oppose this?
It's such a stark turnaround from 2002.
Why do you
they
think
say,
Republicans?
well, number one is Obama. That's number one. Number two is they say that it's too late right now. Obama should have done something sooner. He should have done something earlier. He doesn't have the international support. And yes, they point to Iraq. They say after these two wars, Iraq and Afghanistan, we can't afford another. And it's stunning. You look at the Republican reasoning and the Democratic reasoning of those who don't want to go in, and it's the same. They both point to Iraq, and that's the repercussion of the Bush foreign policy.
Let me ask you this question before we take a break. If this were George W. Bush in the White House and Dick Cheney, and Assad used chemical weapons, and George Bush says, I want to do a military strike, how do you think these Republicans would vote?
Well, the other, to be fair, though, the other problem for a lot of these Republicans is that this is too limited. Well, but they say, I think in the Bush example,
damn well they would vote for it.
I think Bush would also do more, that he would go in there, he would do regime change full force.
We'd have a third war.
He would have a third war, promise everything under the sun, and they would support it. Yes, and they would support it. But a lot of them want more and think that this isn't enough, and Obama is going to screw it up.
Basically, it's because Barack Obama wants it. So
well, yes, that's number one on the list.
Bottom lining up.
Number one on the
bottom line. All right. Igor Volsky with us, Think Progress, thinkprogress.org. We'll be right back. Your call's always welcome at 866. Any other members of Congress or senators listening, give us a call.
We'll even let you go to the front of the line.
This is the Bill Press Show.
Don't look at me. Your hair's a bit frizzy today. Oh, you should pick that up. Oh, you're such a dork, loser. Here, let me help you with that. Oops.
Every day, kids witness bullying.
Oh, look. Your crush is looking at you. Poor you.
They want to help, but don't know how.
See, no one here's gonna help you, because no one
Teach
likes
your kids how to be more than a bystander. Visit stopbullying.gov.
If you drive buzzed, it could cost you around $10,000. You'll face major legal fees, major fines, and steep insurance penalties. You could lose everything. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving.
When some people struggle with their mortgage payments, they become frozen, petrified. Not knowing what to do, they do nothing. But the people who take action are far more likely to get the most positive outcome. Making home affordable is a free government program. Call now to talk one-on-one with a housing expert about the options that are right for you. Real help, real answers, right now.
Here at the GED Pep Talk Center, we have pep talkers standing by to get you motivated for your GED diploma. Text the name Terry to 69222 for a sympathetic pep talk.
You show people what you really are.
Or for a gentle pep talk, text the name Deborah.
You know, you're going to make people very proud of you.
And if that's not enough, text the name Danny for an extreme pep talk.
Prove everyone wrong. Show them you're the boss.
Get your GED pep talk and find free GED classes. Text the name of the person you want a pep talk from to 69222.
Is the Bill Press Show.
Here we go, 11 minutes before the top of the hour. Michael Tomasky is here from Daily Beast as a friend of Bill in the next hour. And we'll also be joined by Congresswoman Eleanor Holmes Norton, joining her colleague Elijah Cummings, who just gave us a call here on the Bill Press Show. In studio with us, as he is every Tuesday morning, Igor Volsky is managing editor of Think Progress. Make it one of your favorites. Make it your homepage. Check it out several times a day if you want to keep up to date on what's happening here in our nation's capital at either end of Pennsylvania Avenue. We'll be talking a lot more about Syria all through the program, Igor, but I did want to ask you, we are here the day after Labor Day. I thought you had a very interesting post about American workers deserve more than just like one day off, right? A lot more,
Oh, you know,
where
do we start?
Are you listening, Bill? Listening, Bill, boss? Go ahead, Igor. Tell him about how wonderful.
Number one, we looked at a couple
I'm a union member here.
The Bill Press Union, couple of areas where we need to do more for workers as a country. Those include, it's a long list, Bill. It includes paid sick leave, a living wage, and that's something that is on the agenda, but doesn't really have a legislative route. A safe workplace for some occupations like coal miners and others. There are regulations in the works to make sure that safety procedures are followed. Employment protection for LGBT workers. We talk a lot about the advances of gay and lesbian people when it comes to marriage, but there's still no federal law, and this shocks people, no federal law making it illegal to fire workers on the basis of sexual orientation or gender identity.
Pending
legislation.
And a lot of pressure on the Obama administration to do this by executive order, which the president has declined to do. He keeps waiting for the Congress to act.
And there's some promise there. It passed committee on a bipartisan vote with several Republicans who weren't on record before supporting it. And so if it gets a vote, it could, in fact, pass it. In this era of kind of greater acceptance after DOMA, you saw in some respects the floodgates open. There could be some hope for that. Full rights for domestic work. We talked about this on the show. These are the home health care aides who aren't covered by labor law because of a loophole in the law. That needs to be plugged back in. Restored anti-discrimination laws. You'll remember the Supreme Court, before those blockbuster decisions, had a couple of others redefining what boss means and who can report sexual harassment and all of those regulations. They weakened those laws, and that's something that could be fixed legislatively. A favorite one of ours is more protections for unpaid interns. Washington, D.C. runs on unpaid internships, as you know.
Yeah, but I just saw an article yesterday where unpaid internships may be phasing out.
Out. Well, that's the hope, and giving those folks some.
I like that.
Yeah. I don't know what goes on here, Bill, but
what's over an intern if you have to pay them?
Yeah, right.
Over at Think Progress, we pay our interns, but a lot of DC runs on these unpaid internships.
And I've seen that. The times are changing, though. I mean,
they are.
Interns are getting paid these days. They really are.
Better days. These are better days. But yeah, so that's interns. Fix the interns. Also,
next thing you know, the interns will have a union.
It's coming. Now, you should talk to Travis when he's in about this, but labor rights for college athletes is something he writes a lot about. These are the guys who play sports in college, and you have video game manufacturers and other businesses using their images and
we
using
talked a little bit about that when he was in last
brands.
Time.
They don't get compensated for it.
Yeah. So this is good. It's a good reminder. That I thought that's why I wanted to ask you about that list. A good reminder of what Labor Day is all about.
Yes.
And the great job that unions do, but
still work to be done.
Still work to be done to give American working men and women the benefits and the protection that they need. Igor Volsky, here we are, out of time again. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thanks
for
Bill.
The great work at Think Progress, thinkprogress.org. We'll see you next week.
Absolutely.
All right.
This is the Bill Press Show.
Don't look at me. Your hair's a bit frizzy today. Aww. You should pick that up. Oh, you're such a dork. Loser. Here, let me help you with that. Oops.
Every day, kids witness bullying.
Oh, look. Your crush is looking at you. Poor you.
They want to help, but don't know how.
See, no one here's gonna help you, because no one
Teach your
likes
kids how to be more than a bystander. Visit stopbullying.gov.
If you drive buzzed, it could cost you around $10,000. You'll face major legal fees, major fines, and steep insurance penalties. You could lose everything. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving.
When some people struggle with their mortgage payments, they become frozen, petrified. Not knowing what to do, they do nothing. But the people who take action are far more likely to get the most positive outcome. Making home affordable is a free government program. Call now to talk one-on-one with a housing expert about the options that are right for you. Real help, real answers, right now.
Here at the GED Pep Talk Center, we have pep talkers standing by to get you motivated for your GED diploma. Text the name Terry to 69222 for a sympathetic pep talk.
You show people what you really are.
Or for a gentle pep talk, text the name Deborah.
You know you're going to make people very proud of you.
And if that's not enough, text the name Danny for an extreme pep talk.
Prove everyone wrong. Show them you're the boss.
Get your GED pep talk and find free GED classes. Text the name of the person you want a pep talk from to 69222.
This is the Bill Press Show.
Hey, you got it. Michael Tomasky here is a friend of Bill in the next hour. Eleanor, Holmes, Norton, Congresswoman from D.C. joining us. Peter, comments?
Remember, we're tweeting at BP Show, where Jim comments on the Syrian situation, says rushing into there would be so Bush League. Thank God Bush is sidelined, and Coach Cheney doesn't have the same heart he used to have.
Amen. Amen to that. Seriously, we'd already be at war in Syria.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Under George Bush and Dick Cheney. Already. Yeah. I think Obama did the right thing. More on that coming up in the next couple of hours here.
This is the Bill Press Show.
Hey, good morning and welcome to the Bill Press Show on this Tuesday morning, September 3rd. Great to see you today. Hope you all enjoyed a wonderful, relaxing Labor Day weekend and are ready to get back and tackle the big stories of the day. That's what we do here on the Bill Press Show. And we will tell you what's going on and then invite your comments at any time on our toll-free number, 866-55-PRESS, on Twitter, of course, at BP Show, and for all of our friends on Facebook at facebook.com/Bill Press Show. Yeah, too bad nothing happened over this Labor Day weekend. Yeah, are you kidding? It was one of the busiest news weekends ever, probably more news over this weekend than there have been in the last 6 months. It started on Friday when Secretary of State John Kerry from the State Department laid out the case for a military strike against Syria, said we know weapons were used, we know who used them, we know they kept the inspectors out, and there must be a military response, and we are ready. And then Saturday, President Obama appearing in the Rose Garden, pulling a big switcheroo. We all expected him to give us the details of the military strike. Instead, he said, I've made up my mind, we are ready to go at any time, but we're not going to go until Congress comes back, debates the issue, and has a vote on the issue, which, of course, they won't do until next week, Monday, September the 9th. All of that on the Full Court Press. Plus, we'll tell you about Diana Nyad finally completing her goal of swimming the Florida Straits from Havana to Key West. She made it in 53 hours. It was her 5th attempt, and she started way back in 1978. Good for her. All of that and more coming up right here on the Bill Press Show.
This is the Bill Press Show.
Don't look at me. Your hair's a bit frizzy today. Aww, you should pick that up. Oh, you're such a dork, loser. Here, let me help you with that. Oops.
Every day, kids witness bullying.
Oh, look. Your crush is looking at you. Poor you.
They want to help, but don't know how.
See, no one here's gonna help you, because no one
Teach your
likes
kids how to be more than a bystander. Visit stopbullying.gov.
If you drive buzzed, it could cost you around $10,000. You'll face major legal fees, major fines, and steep insurance penalties. You could lose everything. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving.
When some people struggle with their mortgage payments, they become frozen, petrified. Not knowing what to do, they do nothing. But the people who take action are far more likely to get the most positive outcome. Making home affordable is a free government program. Call now to talk one-on-one with a housing expert about the options that are right for you. Real help, real answers, right now.
Here at the GED Pep Talk Center, we have pep talkers standing by to get you motivated for your GED diploma. Text the name Terry to 69222 for a sympathetic pep talk.
You show people what you really are.
Or for a gentle pep talk, text the name Deborah.
You know, you're going to make people very proud of you.
And if that's not enough, text the name Danny for an extreme pep talk.
Prove everyone wrong. Show them you're the boss.
Get your GED pep talk and find free GED classes. Text the name of the person you want a pep talk from to 69222.
Did you see the world differently? Did you celebrate the victory?
So today, I state clearly and with conviction America's commitment to seek the peace and security of a world without nuclear weapons.
Did you stand up against our greatest threat? Change the world.
Broadcasting around the nation, on your radio, on your TV, and online. This is The Bill Press Show.
And now, It's up to the Congress. They said they wanted a vote, a chance to vote. They got it. Good morning, everybody. What do you say? Here we go. It is Tuesday, September 3rd. Great to see you today. Welcome to the Bill Press Show on your local progressive talk radio station all across this great land of ours. You're lucky if you've got one. Join us on the radio, and you can also stream us online. All right. How do we do it, Peter?
You can stream video in a variety of ways. First, you can go to BillPressShow.com. There's a little window right there.
That's the easiest way.
On the right-hand side of the page, you'll see it right there. Just hit
You
play.
can't miss it. I just looked at it.
Right there. You can also, if you want to check out stuff all throughout the day, we're going to have clips up of the show. It's YouTube.com/TalkerTV. TAWKR, no L, no E, add a W. Talker TV. Check that out on YouTube.
All right. And we had hoped to be up on Free Speech TV today. We told you we would be. But we got a little technical glitch, a couple of technical glitches. So we're going to work those out, do some more testing this week. And we will be definitely up on Free Speech TV. Those who want to join us on DirecTV or Dish Network next Monday. But radio continues as always. God love them. And from our studio in our studio on Capitol Hill today, we are joined by one of our favorites, friend of Bill, a columnist for the Daily Beast, and publisher of Democracy. Editor.
Yeah, I don't have a brain for publishing.
Michael Tomasky. Hey, Michael, good to see you.
Good morning.
Thanks for coming in. Did you have a good Labor Day weekend?
I did, thanks. Yeah.
All right.
All is well.
Good.
Well, no, everything's horrible, but
yeah, the world's horrible. Yeah. That was for us, we did nothing but work all weekend with all the serious stuff coming down.
Yeah, exactly.
Joined the team here this morning, Peter Ogburn, of course, and Dan Henning.
Hey.
Good morning.
With
Happy
Elise
Tuesday.
Cruz on the phones and Cyprian Bolding. He's got that video stream going out there on YouTube.com
/Talker TV.
/Talker, TAWKR.TV. So we talked about this last week. Donald Trump in a little hot water because the Attorney General of New York has said, hey, this Trump University looks like a big scam to me. It sure is, by the way. Anything Trump's connected with is a scam as far as I'm concerned. Jay Leno had a little fun with this Friday night.
Well, it's back to school time, or as Donald Trump calls that, easy money. I love this story. It seems the state attorney general of New York is now suing Donald Trump for $40 million, claiming that Trump University is a fraud. Well, I guess the attorney general got suspicious when he realized the dean of the business school was Bernie Madoff. Hey, wait a minute.
I mean, Trump brought people in like at $1,500 for a seminar, but if you really want to know the real skinny, you got to go up to the next level, which is $10,000 or $15,000, and then if you really want, then you go up to $35,000.
Yeah, of course.
What a joke! And
I'm shocked.
The suckers who fell for that, right?
Honestly,
yeah. And then they taught him how to go out and falsify their credit reports so they could get more of a balance or not a balance, but a
higher credit limit.
Higher credit limit on their credit card, and then use that extra money to pay for an ever more expensive course.
And this is the man preaching, fiscal probity to the rest of us. Yeah. When it comes to government.
And this is the man who keeps saying, I mean, his university's as phony as any of his presidential runs, right?
Yeah.
He keeps talking about it. Anyhow, Michael's here as for the hour. As a friend of Bill, we're going to talk Syria, of course, and the president's decision to throw the whole issue to Congress for a debate and a vote. Congresswoman Eleanor Holmes Norton will be joining us a little bit later in the hour. But first,
this is the
big
Full
stories
Court
of the
Press.
day.
Other headlines making news on this Tuesday. Endurance swimmer Diana Nyad made her fifth attempt at swimming from Cuba to Florida without
made it.
without the help of a shark cage over the holiday weekend. This time, she did it at 64 years old. She swam up onto the beach in Key West yesterday afternoon after 53 hours in the water, leaving Havana Saturday, swimming 110 miles with a huge crowd watching her come in. Her first time trying this was back in 1978. She said, "You are never too old to follow your dreams."
It's just amazing. The endurance of 53 hours in the water.
I can't even imagine that. That's insane. And she looked like she had been beat up by Mike Tyson when she was done.
When she came out. Yeah.
President Obama's political advocacy group, Organizing for Action, continues to get more celebrity support for Obamacare. Magic Johnson tweeting out about the October 1st open enrollment date over the weekend. OFA retweeted the former basketball star saying, "Another great assist from Magic."
There it is. Celebrities lining up for Obamacare.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And in sports, another early exit at the U.S. Open. Roger Federer was bounced, not making the quarterfinals in Flushing Meadows for the first time since 2003. The Swiss tennis star losing to number 19 seed Tani Robredo in 4 sets. Federer telling USA Today he struggled throughout the match and kind of self-destructed. He has won the U.S. Open 5 times. Not this year, though.
Yeah. There's been a lot of shakeups at this US
right?
Open, huh? Pretty exciting stuff.
You don't stay young and hungry forever.
That's what it is. All right, so Michael, we did have a lot happening on Syria over the weekend. Did the president do the right move in asking Congress to debate and vote?
Yeah, he had to. I mean, you know the poll that came out last week, same as I do. 79% of the American people said you got to go to Congress. You can't really start, well, let's not call it a war. That's melodramatic. But you can't start a military action without going to Congress when 80% of the people want you to go.
And he had said in 2007 as a candidate that no president had the right to take the country into military action absent a direct strike against the United States without the authorization of Congress.
Yeah, and he already did it once in Libya. And
went without Congress.
Yeah, and came up with a justification for that one. But this is higher stakes, and everybody knows that Syria is as high as global stakes get. So he knew that he couldn't mess around here.
Do you share the opinion, it seems that prevalent in the media today, that there's no way he's going to get a vote out of Congress?
I think the Senate will pass it, but I think the House is a real long shot. Very serious long shot. The main reason is that I think, for the Tea Party people, for the people on the right, which is a huge chunk of the Republican caucus, right? It's a chance to humiliate Barack Obama, on the global stage. I don't see how they can pass that up. But then there are a lot of Democrats also that I'm sure Igor was saying as I talked to him in the hallway that he looked at all those Facebook pages and people are saying no, no, no. Maybe the public sentiment for this just isn't there. If Obama wants to have a chance of getting this vote through, he's got to go to the American people, one of those primetime Oval Office presentations, and explain why.
We had a call last hour from Congressman Elijah Cummings from Maryland, who pointed out his constituents he feels are like 95% against it.
Yeah.
For a couple of reasons. One is the legacy of Iraq. We were lied to once.
Yeah.
All about the weapons of mass destruction. And what's interesting is they try to convince us that Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass destruction, which he didn't. I think everybody agrees. There's no doubt that Bashar al-Assad does have weapons of mass destruction.
He just used them.
And he's used them. He's used them twice, at least that we know of. But people are war weary because and lie weary, weary of being lied to by their government. The second reason he pointed out is because people don't understand the difference, but what's so bad about chemical weapons.
Yeah.
Now you would think, well, everybody knows that, but people say, well, no, look, they already killed 100,000 people with conventional weapons, so what's the big deal?
Yeah, people don't know that, and I think
the administration has to make that case.
Right,
that's what you're saying.
Right, you got to explain to people. Number one, it's not Iraq. He's not talking about sending 130,000 troops in. He has to assure people that it's not going to build to that. I mean, people may suspect in the back of their minds, he says that now, but who knows what this could lead to, and that's a legitimate concern. And he's got to address that concern. But I can't imagine we will ever have a ground war in Syria.
No.
So he's got to make that plain, and then he's got to explain to people the history of chemical weapons and what happened in World War I, and why there is this international taboo, and why it is a red line, to use his phrase.
So, do you believe the president has to make an address to the nation himself?
Yeah, at least one. It sounds like might have to make two. I mean, this is. I think if the vote were held today, I think it would lose resoundingly, probably, with a lot of Democratic opposition too.
Now, what you say, I think, is true, and it is interesting that you have opposition coming from the right and the left for two different reasons. There are people, and I quoted Congressman Sam Farr from California earlier in the program, who is one of those who was lined up saying he could not vote for this, absent, some really more compelling evidence. Congresswoman Barbara Lee was in studio with us last week. She's of that same in that same camp, if you will. So there are Democrats on the left who legitimately feel this is not a proper use of military action, or that military action is not called for in this case. And then you've got on the right, it's more. No matter what Obama does, we're going to be against it.
Yeah,
right,
right, and that's going to be really possibly decisive. That emotional sentiment on the right. Now, I heard Barbara Lee on MSNBC last week, and this was Friday, and she was talking about how it was before Obama announced he was going to seek a congressional vote, which was Saturday. And she was saying that her whole thing was that she thinks he should go through Congress. She said
that's what she told us.
She said, of course, we should punish the use of chemical weapons. That seemed to imply that she'd vote yes.
Yeah,
and that's Barbara Lee.
I know. She didn't. She hadn't come to that decision yet because we asked her about it. But yes, she said he should call a special session of Congress, which he did not. It's not a special session. But still, he's delaying any action.
Well, he can't let them.
Two questions about that.
Fundraising.
Does he? Is there risk in the delay? I mean, making us look weak, giving him a chance to use the weapons again. Or kind of showing that, this is not as serious as we thought because we're waiting a couple of weeks before we move.
It looks weak to the people, the small d Democrats in the region, in the area, in Lebanon, in Jordan, in Syria, the vetted opposition, as they're called. The people who really do genuinely want Assad out and want democracy.
And we're taking all this extra time.
Yeah, it looks weak and indecisive to them.
All right, so the president has, it is a roll of the dice. We all admit that.
Yep.
And the president has set up a situation where he's calling for Congress to debate this and to vote. What if they vote no?
Well, this is the weird thing. Of course, he said it's not
You've
necessarily
written about that this morning.
I write about that this
backfire.
morning. I think it's really a weird thing that he did. He said to say publicly and insistently that I don't consider a congressional vote binding, and we might do it anyway. And for John Kerry to say that so insistently on Sunday. Now, put aside for the moment the substantive merits of that position and whether that's defensible constitutionally and otherwise. And just think about it in terms of political strategy and tactically. I don't understand it at all, because if I'm a member of Congress and I hear the president say, I'm going to do what I want anyway, I think, well, why do I stick my neck out for you, pal? Why if Mike Mayo is running, 8-1 against this, why should I do it for you? Why should I do you a favor?
Do you think Obama would dare order a military strike against Syria if Congress has voted no?
He sounds like he might. It's hard to picture, but he sounds like he might. I guess it might depend on the way in which they say no, the circumstances of no. Like if he loses by
the audacity of no.
If he loses, that's well said. If he loses by 50 votes in the House, I don't see how it's possible. If he loses by 2 votes, and 2 people who were going to vote for him were sick that day, and then Assad uses chemical weapons again. So it depends on the circumstances. But even so, just constitutionally, I think that's pretty tough, and I think that's flirting with, I hate to say this word. One time I said this word on TV, and I was a banner headline in a conservative British paper, so I'm not going to say the I word, but you want to give Republicans an excuse to implement the I word process.
Michael Tomasky, columnist for the Daily Beast. Did the president do the right thing in asking Congress to debate and vote on Syria? And if Congress votes no, should he go it alone? 866-55-PRESS. Wow. Explosive topics here this morning on the Bill Press Show.
Like politics? Then like The Bill Press Show on Facebook. This is The Bill Press Show.
Don't look at me. Your hair's a bit frizzy today. Aww, you should pick that up. Oh, you're such a dork, loser. Here, let me help you with that. Oops.
Every day, kids witness bullying.
Oh, look. Your crush is looking at you. Poor you.
They want to help, but don't know how.
See, no one here's gonna help you, because no one
Teach your
likes
kids how to be more than a bystander. Visit stopbullying.gov.
If you drive buzzed, it could cost you around $10,000. You'll face major legal fees, major fines, and steep insurance penalties. You could lose everything. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving.
When some people struggle with their mortgage payments, they become frozen, petrified. Not knowing what to do, they do nothing. But the people who take action are far more likely to get the most positive outcome. Making home affordable is a free government program. Call now to talk one-on-one with a housing expert about the options that are right for you. Real help, real answers, right now.
Here at the GED Pep Talk Center, we have pep talkers standing by to get you motivated for your GED diploma. Text the name Terry to 69222 for a sympathetic pep talk.
You show people what you really are.
Or for a gentle pep talk, text the name Deborah.
You know you're going to make people very proud of you.
And if that's not enough, text the name Danny for an extreme pep talk.
Prove everyone wrong. Show them you're the boss.
Get your GED pep talk and find free GED classes. Text the name of the person you want a pep talk from to 69222.
Did you see the world differently? Did you celebrate the victory?
So today, I state clearly and with conviction America's commitment to seek the peace and security of a world without nuclear weapons.
Did you stand up against our greatest threat? Change the world.
This is the Bill Press Show.
All right, 25 minutes after the hour now here, talking Syria and other issues, news of the day here on the Bill Press Show this Tuesday morning, September 3rd, with Michael Tomasky, columnist for the Daily Beast at dailybeast.com here in studio with us. And Peter, you've been following the social media.
Yes, indeed. We are on Twitter at BP Show, We talked to Elijah Cummings, congressman from Maryland, in the last hour, who said he talked to about 1,000 of his constituents and said that about 95% of them said that they are opposed to action in Syria. Ruth weighing in, where we're on Twitter at BP Show, Ruth weighing in says, count me as one of those 95%. Karen says, Obama says no boots on the ground, but what if Syria forces us into a further consequence where we have no choice? This isn't worth it. And Dale brings up the idea, says we need a big old-fashioned war tax before we commit to any action, a big enough tax on the 1% that will also pay for Cheney and Bush's wars, too.
You know, Michael, on that,
knew that was coming.
On that second comment, there are concerns about the unintended consequences, is usually how it's put. But aren't there unintended? We never know, right? I mean, it's, to a certain extent, this debate to me is damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Obama didn't go in right away, so now people criticize him for that. But if he had done that without going to Congress, people would have criticized, the criticism the other way. The same thing, like, they say, well, we don't know everything that might happen if we do this. You never know everything that's going to happen if you take an action, right?
No,
I mean,
you can't possibly know. And he could have done something 2 years ago. And I hear the case of people like that, Lindsey Graham, who said, well, back then the opposition was less infiltrated by Al-Qaeda, and it might have been easier to work with them. That could be, but who knows where we'd be now 2 years down the road. It's just really, you can't predict these things. There are only bad choices here and worse choices. It's just difficult to say.
You just got to wait. For example, right? If we do nothing, the chances, I think, and I think we've already seen this, are pretty great that Bashar al-Assad will use these weapons again.
Yeah, I think they are, and
And then if we do something, there's a chance that he might lob a missile into Turkey or into Israel.
You never know. I mean, with reluctance, I favor doing military strikes now to just to enforce the taboo of chemical weapons and to maybe hurt his military capabilities to some extent, and maybe give the opposition, which there are many different oppositions, but give them a chance.
This is the Bill Press Show.
I will never.
Don't look at me. Your hair's a bit frizzy today. Aww, you should pick that up. Oh, you're such a dork, loser. Here, let me help you with that. Oops.
Every day, kids witness bullying.
Oh, look, your crush is looking at you. Poor you.
They want to help, but don't know how.
See, no one here's gonna help you, because no one
Teach your
likes
kids how to be more than a bystander. Visit stopbullying.gov.
If you drive buzzed, it could cost you around $10,000. You'll face major legal fees, major fines, and steep insurance penalties. You could lose everything. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving.
When some people struggle with their mortgage payments, they become frozen, petrified. Not knowing what to do, they do nothing. But the people who take action are far more likely to get the most positive outcome. Making home affordable is a free government program. Call now to talk one-on-one with a housing expert about the options that are right for you. Real help, real answers, right now.
Here at the GED Pep Talk Center, we have pep talkers standing by to get you motivated for your GED diploma. Text the name Terry to 69222 for a sympathetic pep talk.
You show people what you really are.
Or for a gentle pep talk, text the name Deborah.
You know, you're going to make people very proud of you.
And if that's not enough, text the name Danny for an extreme pep talk.
Prove everyone wrong. Show them you're the boss.
Get your GED pep talk and find free GED classes. Text the name of the person you want a pep talk from to 69222.
is the Bill Press Show.
How about it? 33 minutes after the hour now here, coming to you live all the way across this great land of ours from our studio on Capitol Hill in Washington, D.C. In studio with us as a friend of Bill this hour, Michael Tomasky, his columnist for the Daily Beast. As we've been talking, Michael, President Obama, good morning again. On Saturday, President Obama saying, I have made up my mind that chemical weapons were used in Syria. They were used at the orders of President Bashar al-Assad and the Syrian regime. The president said, I have made up my mind that a military response in retaliation for the use of those weapons is justified. The military has told me they are ready to carry out that strike at any time, but the president said, I am not going to move forward. I'm not going to take such an action without giving Congress a chance to fully debate it and vote on it. One member of Congress who will be weighing that very carefully joins us on our newsline this morning. We heard earlier from Congressman Elijah Cummings, joining us now from the District of Columbia, Congresswoman Eleanor Holmes Norton, our good friend and neighbor. Hey, Congresswoman, nice to talk to you again.
Good morning, Bill.
So have you had a chance to attend any of the briefings over the weekend?
Yeah, I was at the first one where 5 administration officials came and briefed us on, I guess that was the day before Labor Day. Yes.
Mm-hmm. And what is your feeling now? Let me ask, are you convinced that chemical weapons were in fact used in Syria?
Yeah, Bill, the way I look at this is it's kind of a 3-legged stool.
Uh-huh.
The first leg was, have weapons been used? The second leg was, have we a legal basis for this? Remember, we've always had some kind of resolution or the like. And 3, is there a justification for the United States to go to war? Now, they've come pretty darn close to showing that this happened. The only thing we don't know is, we have eyewitness accounts. We have the tissue samples from victims. We don't know precisely that the order was given by Assad, but we were given a document to look at. They took it back. We couldn't take it from the room, showing the chain of command. And it seems pretty likely that we have chemical weapons here. On the legal basis, we don't have a UN resolution, but we do have a treaty which we signed. And it's a treaty that puts chemical weapons outside of normal warfare, just like nuclear weapons are. We're a signatory, and most of the world's people live under that.
The Chemical Weapons Convention. Yeah.
That's right. So I believe that is a legal basis. Now, here comes the problem. What is our goal? What is the justification for U.S. intervention? Now, listening to the 5 administration officials, as best I can tell, it is punishment and deterrence. Now, we got to watch out about both of those. A senator who had been in the in the Senate longer than I've been in the House pointed out that this is not the first time.
Right.
They were used in the 80s. We thought, of course, and in fact they were used apparently by Saddam, although we didn't have any once we got in there. So in light of the deterrent effect, it looks like there's been pretty much deterrence. They're not very much used. So I don't believe, but so this notion that if we don't do this now, we'll have them used all over the place, I'm not sure is as solid as the administration thinks it is. Now, they say it will deter. They also don't think that there will be retaliation, and they're basing that on their sense of what he will do, and they say the Israelis also think they will not retaliate. So what will happen? Does it mean that, therefore, there won't be any more use of chemical weapons? Will it have any effect on the war? It is very unclear whether certainly unclear whether there is a security interest of the United States in it, unless you look at the treaty and see that since we signed it, ultimately somehow it could happen here. It is very thin when you look at the reason for our intervention.
Do you find, Congresswoman, that the legacy of Iraq, or the cloud of Iraq and the lies that were told in the build-up of Iraq sort of is hanging over the heads of the administration here?
Frankly, that was the first. That was the first problem. But I think they've overcome that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think anyone can say, and I was among those who asked questions, but I didn't hear any questions that said, "Do you really think he did it?" I think they have virtually made that case. But I'll tell you, I asked the question that they conceded they could not answer, and I asked, why is he using massive use of chemical weapons now? Does it mean that the regime is weakened or on its last leg, or does it mean the opposite, that he feels he's almost won the war and he'll clean it up with this? They have no idea why he used it now.
No.
They also have no idea.
And it seems strange because the tide seemed to have turned, right? Everybody was reporting that that
he was winning the war.
Yeah.
So why does he? And so we don't know why all of a sudden he lets loose with these. Then, if you really want to know what they haven't put in place for me, is why did he let the inspectors in?
Yeah.
Now maybe he thinks he's degraded. Well, no, it wasn't. It couldn't be that he's degraded it on his side. He may have degraded it on the side, and it's clear that there was that the weapons came from his territory to the territory on the other side. But why did he say that they can come in with no limitations?
Congresswoman Mike Tomasky from the Daily Beast sitting here in the studio with Bill. Good morning. What's your sense of how your fellow Democrats in the House are feeling about this, and how do you think they would lean if the vote were today?
Well, the president is very fortunate the vote isn't today, I think. And he's going to be out of the country.
Yes.
Beginning, is it tomorrow? At first I thought, well, they're depending on the only expert in this, that's Nancy Pelosi. But both leaders have said that this is a vote of conscience. So I think the president's in trouble because I think it's all on him. If Pelosi doesn't get in this somehow or the other, to try to rally the troops, and I really wonder if she won't, because she says she is for it. She is behind the president. If she doesn't get in this, I think we're in real trouble because we got a new Republican split. That many of them are not for going to war. Some of them for ideological reasons. They think they follow Rand Paul. Others just because they don't want to give the president any authority or give him any quote win. So I think the president I think it's all on the president, and I think he's in real trouble. Democrats don't like going to war unless there is a national security reason, and I don't think they've shown that yet.
And John Boehner either will not or cannot deliver his caucus, I guess, is the other side of it. Would you agree?
He couldn't deliver the caucus to Santa Claus. I mean, he wants to, I think. So he's depending, I don't know what he's depending upon. He has no control whatsoever, none. With most bills that the president wants that we must have, we're depending upon a majority of Democrats and a minority of Republicans. That's not what I think we have here.
Do you think the president should and will have to address the American people, from an Oval Office address or some speech to lay out the case?
Well, I think he will. Overwhelmingly, people are against this.
Yeah.
He doesn't have people. He doesn't have Democrats. He doesn't have Republicans. He looks like people are not going to whip it on either side of the aisle. Maybe Harry Reid will. He's got trouble in the Senate. There were senators there as well. Now, remember, people had to come in order to go to there was something yesterday, I think, on the phone.
Yes.
The one I went to was an in-person, and they lasted a long time, and they answered every question we gave them. And I think they spoke very well, and they cleared up lots of things, most especially that there has indeed been a chemical weapon attack. I happen to believe that there has to be a response. I do believe in the crimes against humanity need to be addressed, and I can't believe that the only way to address it is a slight bombing, which will somehow punish somebody or deter somebody. I don't know if there's some way other than a military way to address this.
You're kind of joined us this morning, Congresswoman. I want to just ask you one final question before we let you go. If, as you said, if the vote were held today, the president would probably not win it. If he doesn't win it a week from now, do you think the president would be justified in taking action on his own, unilaterally, with Congress having voted against it?
No, oh boy, no. I think it'll be like the red line trap. He said if it's a red line, you'll cross it. I think once you say I'm going to Congress, you can't say, okay, I'm going to do it anyway.
Yeah, I don't care.
I think he'll be in real trouble if he then does it anyway. No president has done
It's
that.
not an easy decision for any of you, Congresswoman Eleanor Holmes Norton.
Oh, and I should say, Bill, that if he gets saved at all, I think it'll be because of loyalty of Democrats. They just don't want to see him shamed and humiliated on the national scene.
Yeah, right.
At the moment, that's the only reason I would vote for it if I could vote, darn it.
All right, you got it. Thanks, Congresswoman. Thanks so much for your time and your good thoughts this morning. And good luck with this decision. They're all wrestling with it. And all these, ramifications are very, very important. We'll be back, continue our conversation. And your comments on the Congresswoman's comments, welcome at 866-55-PRESS.
This is the Bill Press Show.
Don't look at me. Your hair's a bit frizzy today. Aww, you should pick that up. Oh, you're such a dork, loser. Here, let me help you with that. Oops.
Every day, kids witness bullying.
Oh, look, your crush is looking at you. Poor you.
They want to help, but don't know how.
See, no one here's gonna help you, because no one
Teach your
likes
kids how to be more than a bystander. Visit stopbullying.gov.
If you drive buzzed, it could cost you around $10,000. You'll face major legal fees, major fines, and steep insurance penalties. You could lose everything. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving.
When some people struggle with their mortgage payments, they become frozen, petrified. Not knowing what to do, they do nothing. But the people who take action are far more likely to get the most positive outcome. Making home affordable is a free government program. Call now to talk one-on-one with a housing expert about the options that are right for you. Real help, real answers, right now.
Here at the GED Pep Talk Center, we have pep talkers standing by to get you motivated for your GED diploma. Text the name Terry to 69222 for a sympathetic pep talk.
You show people what you really are.
Or for a gentle pep talk, text the name Deborah.
You know, you're going to make people very proud of you.
And if that's not enough, text the name Danny for an extreme pep talk.
Prove everyone wrong. Show them you're the boss.
Get your GED pep talk and find free GED classes. Text the name of the person you want a pep talk from to 69222.
Products that you might not know about. But
I used to have a Lenovo laptop.
Yeah, they make a lot of laptops, and they make a lot of computers, and they make a lot of computer parts. But so they did all that money. So he was given a bonus of $4.3 million, $4.3 million, and he is turning around and he is sharing $3.25 million of that with the workers. He's spreading it out among about 10,000 employees that work for Lenovo. He's giving his bonus back to the workers.
Wow.
You never hear about that happening.
No.
You never hear about that happening.
What kind of communist is this guy?
Right? Now, to be fair...
Maybe like a real communist.
To be fair, he still made $14.6 million last year alone. So this bonus would have been icing on the cake. But good for him.
Yeah,
good for
absolutely.
him.
Maybe that spirit can spread among some American
good luck
entrepreneurs
with that.
here. Right, indeed. Yeah. Interesting what the Congresswoman said, that and she's as liberal as they come, and she indicated that she feels the response is necessary. So she's, I read that as saying she's going to vote yes, but she also was very clear. If Congress says no, the president would not dare do a military strike. If you ask for the vote, he's going to have to live by the vote, is what she says.
Yeah, I was surprised by the forcefulness with which she said that. Right, I think we all were a little bit surprised by that because she laughed at it and she said, "Oh my God, no! He has to have him come to Congress."
But I think she's right. I don't think
she is.
I don't think the president will ever say, "If Congress votes no, I won't do it." Like David Cameron, in effect, did.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he'll say that, but I think the reality is he will not do it if Congress votes no. Let's have a quick call from Bob out in Chicago. Hey, Bob. Good morning. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Yeah. What do you think?
I got a thought here. Russia has a naval base in Syria. I think they also have an air force base in Syria. Now, Russia has its own problems with the Chechen rebels.
Yes.
They've been attacked by Chechen Muslims for hundreds of years. I believe that, and Assad doesn't do anything without talking to the Russians first. They're there. I believe that if he were to fall and there was a chance of any radical rebels grabbing the chemical weapons, Russia would step in and grab them if they don't already control them, because they don't want them to get in the hands of Chechen rebels that are already in Syria. So, I would rather have Russia grab them because at least they've shown some restraint in both chemical and nuclear weapons for the last 70 years.
Well, it's Bob, I appreciate the call. It is interesting, the role of Russia in this. I mean, why is Russia, I guess you could say the same thing about China, so supportive of Assad? And so willing to risk a relationship with the United States over it?
With Russia, it just kind of goes back to the Cold War. During the Cold War, Russia was always on the side of Syria. Hafiz al-Assad, Bashar's father, and we were on the other sides. And it stems from that. But Putin is also, Putin's Putin, and he, we actually had a pretty good relationship with Russia when Medvedev was running things, and Obama and Medvedev got a lot of stuff done, but Putin came back into power and said.
So also, Russia must be making a lot of money selling arms and weapons and planes to Syria.
Well, of course,
and probably oil and gas as well, huh?
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, there are a lot of ties there that go way back.
So it's one of their big customers, big clients, and they're supporting them all the way. It is. It's a sticky wicket here, Michael. Keeping you and me busy, trying to keep up with, in terms of figuring it all out. But we will be reading you on Daily Beast, and thanks for coming in this morning.
My pleasure.
Our viewers and our listeners are always happy to when you're here, and we'll forward all of your fan mail to you.
At your leisure.
Michael, it's a Daily Beast.
If I get one, I paid for those.
I know, right? Where are they?
Follow Michael at dailybeast.com, and I'll come back and give you what the president's up to today before he takes off for Sweden.
Go mobile with Bill Press. Download podcasts at BillPressShow.com and listen anytime, anywhere. This is The Bill Press Show.
Don't look at me. Your hair's a bit frizzy today. Oh, you should pick that up. Oh, you're such a dork, loser. Here, let me help you with that. Oops.
Every day, kids witness bullying.
Oh, look. Your crush is looking at you. Poor you.
They want to help, but don't know how.
See, no one here's gonna help you, because no one
Teach
likes
your
you.
kids how to be more than a bystander. Visit stopbullying.gov.
If you drive buzzed, it could cost you around $10,000. You'll face major legal fees, major fines, and steep insurance penalties. You could lose everything. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving.
When some people struggle with their mortgage payments, they become frozen, petrified. Not knowing what to do, they do nothing. But the people who take action are far more likely to get the most positive outcome. Making home affordable is a free government program. Call now to talk one-on-one with a housing expert about the options that are right for you. Real help, real answers, right now.
Here at the GED Pep Talk Center, we have pep talkers standing by to get you motivated for your GED diploma. Text the name Terry to 69222 for a sympathetic pep talk.
You show people what you really are.
Or for a gentle pep talk, text the name Deborah.
You know you're going to make people very proud of you.
And if that's not enough, text the name Danny for an extreme pep talk.
Prove everyone wrong. Show them you're the boss.
Get your GED pep talk and find free GED classes. Text the name of the person you want a pep talk from to 69222.
Is the Bill Press Show.
Hey, what do you say in the next hour? Kate Nocera from Buzzfeed will be here in studio. And, of course, we'll continue to take your calls and your comments about the president's call for Congress to debate and to vote on what ought to happen in Syria. The president today will be meeting with leaders of the Congress and heads of all the appropriate committees and the four Republican and Democratic leaders of Congress at the White House starting at 9:45 this morning, part of their full court press to line up the votes for a resolution supporting a military strike in Syria. Then the president and the vice president have lunch. The president leaves the White House at 8:30 tonight for Andrews Air Force Base, taking off heading for Sweden and then on to the G20 in St. Petersburg. One more hour coming up. Stay with us.
This is the Bill Press Show.
Hey, good morning and welcome to the Bill Press Show on this Tuesday morning, September 3rd. Great to see you today. Hope you all enjoyed a wonderful, relaxing Labor Day weekend and are ready to get back and tackle the big stories of the day. That's what we do here on the Bill Press Show. And we will tell you what's going on and then invite your comments at any time on our toll-free number, 866-55-PRESS, on Twitter, of course, at BP Show, and for all of our friends on Facebook at facebook.com/Bill Press Show. Yeah, too bad nothing happened over this Labor Day weekend. Yeah, are you kidding? It was one of the busiest news weekends ever, probably more news over this weekend than there've been in the last 6 months. It started on Friday when Secretary of State John Kerry from the State Department laid out the case for a military strike against Syria, said we know weapons were used, we know who used them, we know they kept the inspectors out, and there must be a military response, and we are ready. And then Saturday, President Obama appearing in the Rose Garden, pulling a big switcheroo. We all expected him to give us the details of the military strike. Instead, he said, I've made up my mind. We are ready to go at any time, but we're not going to go until Congress comes back, debates the issue, and has a vote on the issue, which, of course, they won't do until next week, Monday, September the 9th. All of that on the full court press, plus we'll tell you about Diana Nyad finally completing her goal of swimming the Florida Straits from Havana to Key West. She made it in 53 hours. It was her 5th attempt, and she started way back in 1978. Good for her. All of that and more coming up right here on The Bill Press Show.
This is The Bill Press Show.
Don't look at me. Your hair's a bit frizzy today. Oh, you should pick that up. Oh, you're such a dork, loser. Here, let me help you with that. Oops.
Every day, kids witness bullying.
Oh, look. Your crush is looking at you. Poor you.
They want to help, but don't know how.
See, no one here's gonna help you, because no one
Teach your
likes
kids how to be more than a bystander. Visit stopbullying.gov.
If you drive buzzed, it could cost you around $10,000. You'll face major legal fees, major fines, and steep insurance penalties. You could lose everything. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving.
When some people struggle with their mortgage payments, they become frozen, petrified. Not knowing what to do, they do nothing. But the people who take action are far more likely to get the most positive outcome. Making home affordable is a free government program. Call now to talk one-on-one with a housing expert about the options that are right for you. Real help, real answers, right now.
Here at the GED Pep Talk Center, we have pep talkers standing by to get you motivated for your GED diploma. Text the name Terry to 69222 for a sympathetic pep talk.
You show people what you really are.
Or for a gentle pep talk, text the name Deborah.
You know you're going to make people very proud of you.
And if that's not enough, text the name Danny for an extreme pep talk.
Prove everyone wrong. Show them you're the boss.
Get your GED pep talk and find free GED classes. Text the name of the person you want a pep talk from to 69222.
Did you see the world differently? Did you celebrate the victory?
So today, I state clearly and with conviction America's commitment to seek the peace and security of a world without nuclear weapons.
Did you stand up against our greatest threat? Change the world.
broadcasting around the nation, on your radio, on your TV, and online. This is The Bill Press Show.
So now it's up to Congress on Syria to vote yes or no. President Obama issuing that challenge on Saturday. What do you say? Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the work week here on a Tuesday, September 3rd. Hope you had a great Labor Day weekend and are ready to tackle the big stories of the day. The one big story, of course, is Syria. John Kerry laying out the case on Friday afternoon on why a military strike was necessary. President Obama on Saturday taking it one step further, saying, I agree, there should be a military response. I'm ready to take that action. Our military is standing by, ready to take and equipped and prepared to take that action at any time. But we're going to hold off until Congress gets back in town and they can debate this issue and then vote their will. Boy, that is a big shift and puts a lot of pressure now on members of Congress, Republicans and Democrats. And the White House has already started its full court press to try to round up the votes. We'll bring you up to date on all of that today. So good to see you. We'll take your calls, too, on what it all means to you at 866-55-PRESS. Take your comments and look forward to your comments on Twitter at BP Show and on Facebook at facebook.com/Bill Press Show. All of our friends on Facebook. Friends and team members joining our team here in studio with Peter Ogburn and Dan Henning.
Hey.
Good morning.
Hey. I hope you had a good weekend.
Yeah.
Everything?
Happy.
Everybody looks good and rested and,
Well, I would say I'm actually a little tired this morning. I was stuck in the horrendous traffic last night because of the plane crash on Route 50 outside of Washington, which just in Bowie.
You know what?
In Cyprian's neighborhood,
Oh, that was in
actually.
your neighborhood, Cyprian?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, he lives right on Route 50.
Well, there's that freeway
airport. Yeah, they missed the runway. I mean, they weren't near the runway.
Is that what it was? Was a plane coming in?
Or coming into landing. I mean, it was involved with the airport.
There was a plane crash in Maryland. I didn't realize
that was it.
was. Oh,
yeah,
man.
and that made my trip home very long.
I'll bet.
Yeah.
Alicia Cruz is here on the phones, and Cyprian Bolding from the near Bowie neighborhood here, keeping us so good on the video stream, which is big news. We're sorry that we are not as we had hoped to be, and announced that we would be up on Free Speech TV today. That's going to be a week from yesterday. Next Monday, we'll be up on Free Speech. We had a technical hang up there that we got to do a little more testing on this week. But there is a video stream for those of you near your computer. Remember, we're there on your local Progressive Talk radio station, as always. If you want to stream from your computer, just go to BillPressShow.com and you'll see the box and click on it and you are in. It's easy. Even an idiot can do it. I've done it twice this morning.
So even an idiot can do it twice.
Exactly right. I got to tell you, a Friday night, Carol and I went to the ball game, saw the Nats lose, unfortunately, to the Mets, but had a great evening. And then Saturday night, we saw The Butler. You guys, anybody else?
I haven't seen it yet. I haven't seen it.
Worth it.
I want to.
It's really, really good. Wonderful story. And it's the parallel story. First of all, Forrest Whitaker, who plays this Butler, real life person. It's based on a real life person who grew up on a slave plantation, actually in Virginia, and ended up being chief butler at the White House. Not chief butler, but a butler at the White House under 8 presidents. And it's his story serving these presidents, starting with President Eisenhower, as they are all dealing with the civil rights movement. Johnson and Kennedy and Nixon, and his basic overhearing conversations in the White House about how they were going to deal with this issue and these problems, particularly in the South. And at the same time, his son, young black student, college student who gets involved in the civil rights movement and becomes a freedom rider and actually ends up joining the Black Panthers. So it's a very, very powerful story, which which I think in the end shows and leading up to Barack Obama he had left under President Reagan, but leading up for him to Barack Obama being sworn in as the first black president of the United States. And he gets a chance to go to the White House and meet President Obama. And Forrest Whitaker, incredible job as the butler. And I got to tell you, Oprah Winfrey does a very, very good job, too, as surprised me how good she is as the wife, the wife of the butler. Yeah. And the surprise is Jane Fonda.
I've heard about her performance.
A wonderful performance, not a long, but a wonderful performance as Nancy Reagan.
Yeah. I heard Nancy Reagan took issue with her performance.
How sweet is it?
Yeah, right.
For Jane Fonda to be playing Nancy Reagan.
Somebody clearly made that casting with their tongue firmly planted in their cheek.
The other big news of the day is that Tim Tebow, no, he ain't going to be the quarterback for the Patriots. He's not even going to be on the squad, right?
So, I was surprised to see them.
Axe him entirely.
Yeah, he did a decent job in preseason. It's nice to have a backup.
In typical fashion, Tim Tebow put out a tweet right after the news broke, where he said he thanked the team for giving them the opportunity to be such a part of a classy organization. And he said, I will remain in relentless pursuit of continuing my lifelong dream of being an NFL quarterback. I'm reading his tweet. 2 Corinthians 12:9, quote, and he has said to me, my grace is sufficient for you, for power is perfected in weakness.
Oh, boy.
So he goes down citing the Bible.
Yeah.
God. I'm telling you. What a phony. At any rate, Kate Nocera from Buzzfeed is going to be joining us in just a little bit, and we will tell you the latest and get your comments on what the president did, throwing the whole issue of Syria to the United States Congress. Did he make the right decision? But first,
this is the Full Court Press.
Other headlines making news on this Tuesday. America's chief diplomat is back in North Korea. Of course, we're talking about Dennis Rodman, the former NBA star, flew into Pyongyang.
Bill Richardson.
Dennis
Rodman? Oh,
the former NBA star flew into Pyongyang this morning. He expects to have dinner with his friend, dictator Kim Jong-un, either tonight or tomorrow night. Rodman told USA Today he hopes to bridge the gap between Americans and North Koreans, but insisted he is in fact not a diplomat.
Good grief.
No, he's a clown.
Yeah. God.
Former Baltimore Ravens linebacker Ray Lewis, who played in the Super Bowl this past February when the stadium lights went out for half an hour, suggested over the weekend the lights may have been blown out by design. Lewis says he's not trying to accuse anyone, but he told NFL Films it was very interesting that when his team was up 28-6 over San Francisco when the lights went out, then the 49ers came back on a huge scoring run. The Ravens did end up winning, but only by 3 points.
You know, I didn't see or hear his comments. I hope he was joking when he said that.
He was kind of laughing when he did, but people were sort of taking him seriously. That there's big-time conspiracy theory.
There's your first mistake, taking Ray Lewis seriously about anything other than, like, knocking heads.
And Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg became the first Supreme Court justice to officiate a same-sex wedding over the weekend. The Washington Post reports that she married Michael Kaiser, who is president of the Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts here in Washington, to his longtime partner, John Roberts. No relation.
No, not the Chief Justice.
Not the Chief Justice. This is a different John Roberts. But the wedding was held at the Kennedy Center, and Ginsburg already has another same-sex wedding to officiate on her calendar later this month.
Good for her, making a stand there. And congratulations to Michael Kaiser and John Roberts. Yes, indeed, it was a very action-packed, news-filled weekend over Syria. You know how it started. Right after the show here on Friday, we learned that Secretary of State John Kerry, who's really become the lead spokesperson for the administration on this issue, interestingly enough, was going to make a statement from the State Department, which he did. Very powerful speech on Friday afternoon. Like Colin Powell had done for Iraq in front of the United Nations, John Kerry did from the State Department on Syria, putting out the evidence that we have that chemical weapons were used, sarin gas was used. It was the Syrian administration regime which had given the orders. They also kept out first responders from helping the people who'd been struck with these weapons, and for some time they prevented inspectors or the UN inspectors from going in actually to get the evidence on the scene. Kerry's saying, we know this, there's no doubt about it, we know this, and we must respond militarily, or else Assad and other dictators will believe they have a license to use these chemical weapons. Then, Saturday morning, we got word that President Obama was going to drop the other shoe with an address from the Rose Garden. We expected that to be the details of the military strike. How many missiles, when they started hitting, what the target was, on and on and on. Instead, the president says, I believe the evidence. I have made a decision that a military strike is justified. Our military tells me we are prepared to do it at any time, but I'm not going to act until Congress gets back in town, debates this issue, and votes accordingly. President Obama telling the world, I'm ready, now it's up to Congress.
I'm ready to act in the face of this outrage. Today I'm asking Congress to send a message to the world that we are ready to move forward together as one nation.
And he calls on members of both parties to do their job.
But all members of Congress of both parties, I ask you to take this vote for our national security. I am looking forward to the debate.
Yesterday, during all 5 of the morning shows from the State Department again, Secretary of State John Kerry telling why this vote, why the president is doing the right thing in asking Congress to debate and vote.
The President of the United States has the right to take this action, doesn't have to go to Congress, but he does so with the belief, and this is why I think it's courageous, the President knows that America is stronger when we act in unity.
And the administration began right away to start pressing, or full court press, if you will, on members of Congress to vote in support of a military strike. They had an in-person briefing Sunday, classified briefing in the Congress for any members of Congress who were able to come to town or live near, close enough to get in for the day. Yesterday, the president followed that up by meeting at the White House with Senators John McCain and Lindsey Graham. He picked up at least one vote from John McCain.
We need to see that plan. We need to see that strategy articulated. We also have to make it clear that a vote against this would be catastrophic in its consequences, not only as far as this issue is concerned, but in the future.
And today, this morning at 9:45, the president will be meeting at the White House with the bipartisan leaders of both houses, House and Senate, and with the chairs of the appropriate committees in the House and Senate, the Foreign Relations, the Armed Services Committee, the Intelligence Committees, talking again about the need to retaliate and to punish Bashar al-Assad for the use of these chemical weapons. Question remains now to you, did the president do the right thing in asking Congress to debate and vote on this issue? And more importantly, maybe, or well, it goes along with that question, is what happens if Congress does vote, but the vote is no, we don't want a military strike against Syria? Would the president still go ahead and do so anyhow? 866-55-PRESS is the toll-free number. We talked a little earlier on the program with Congressman Elijah Cummings from Maryland, who attended that special briefing in the Congress and told us that he's convinced chemical weapons were used. He's convinced the Syrian government used them, but he's not sure yet how he would vote. We've also talked with Congresswoman Eleanor Holmes Norton this morning, who said she reluctantly thinks that some response is necessary, indicating she would vote for it. But she made it very, very clear that if the vote were held today, Congress would vote no. And she made it even more clear that if Congress does vote no, there is no way the president will be justified in going ahead unilaterally, thwarting the will of Congress. Important issues. Let's discuss them right here on the Full Court Press. Did the president do the right thing, and should he go it alone if Congress votes no? 866-55-PRESS.
Follow us on Twitter @BP Show. This is The Bill Press Show. This is the Bill Press Show.
Here we go, 25 minutes after the hour now. Syria is the big issue of the day. President Obama leaving for Sweden tonight, but not before doing some one-on-one lobbying today with the leaders of Congress down at the White House, 9:45. just a little over an hour from now this morning, the time of that meeting. Peter, comments online?
Yes, indeed. We are tweeting at BP Show, at BP Show. Also, by the way, we mentioned we're streaming video at Talker, on Talker. It's youtube.com/Talker TV, TAWKR TV. One of the benefits of going to that site is there's a chat room there. You can join in the chat room. You can chime in, comment on the show as it goes along. Julia says, we might, on having Congress vote on Syrian action, Julia says, we might as well get them to do something, anything that looks like a congressional job. They won't do anything for Americans. And Robert Benny says, isn't the term...
This one they can't ignore. They're going to have to have the debate, and they're going to have to vote.
And Robert Benny says, isn't the term congressional leaders an oxymoron?
Yes.
You can join in that conversation on Twitter at BP Show or in the chat room at youtube.com/Talker.
As we said earlier in the program, with Congress now, 200 members of Congress had said to the president, we want to vote. We want to have a chance to vote. And the president said, all right. You got it. Making them seem right now like the dog that finally caught the car. Okay. Uh-oh. What do we do now? Now what? Jay is in Kankakee, Illinois. What do you say, Jay? Good morning.
Good morning, Bill.
Yes.
I apologize. I'm on the road if you can hear me too well.
All right.
My point, I wish that they had gone and followed the Arab League as the leaders of this. We should have their back, both diplomatically and militarily, if necessary. But I think they should try and deal with it from that part of the world, from the conversation protecting the citizens, if you will. Don't want to necessarily get into the ethnicities and the religious conversation here.
Yeah.
We've got to start letting other people handle their problems first without us always standing there saying, we'll be the police all the time. I'm really tired of my tax dollars going into our police service for the globe. Not to mention, and more important, I'm not sure what the Chinese and the Russians will really do in a pushback on this.
Yeah, I hear you. And by the way, I hear that comment a lot, that something ought to be done, but somebody else ought to do it. Why not Israel? Why not Turkey? Or why not the Arab League? A good question. The Arab League did say they condemned the use of chemical weapons, but they did not support a military strike. That would be an ideal world. Hasn't happened yet.
This is the Bill Press Show.
to the hour. Tuesday, September 3rd, the day after Labor Day, the weekend we were all going to kick back and relax, and those of us in the media, nothing to worry about. There'd be nothing to report on because nothing happens on Labor Day weekend. Might as well just shut down the bureau, turn off your cell phones and all those extra feeds that we get of flashes of news. It didn't quite work out that way, did it, Kate Nocera?
It did not.
No.
To coming back to
you
DC
ended up having to get right on the beat, right?
Yeah,
back to Congress.
I was up in New York on Saturday, planning to spend the weekend
Oh,
there,
no.
and then jumped on a train on Sunday to come back, and since there was a congressional briefing on the Hill.
Right. Kate Nocera
couldn't miss it, so.
Covers the Hill for Buzzfeed here in studio with us. So the president, it was an action-packed weekend.
Mm-hmm.
John Kerry making his statement on Friday, the president making his statement on Saturday, saying, I've made up my mind, but I'm not going to act until Congress has a chance to debate it. And then Sunday, they have a congressional briefing,
right.
Classified briefing. You were there outside
I
the
was
briefing.
not in the briefing
Right.
room, unfortunately. But yeah.
Congress is in recess, so who the hell was there?
It was actually kind of amazing to me. There were about 70 members who showed up.
Unbelievable. Senators and
reps, and I kind of was stunned at how many of
all
them.
from this area, or
No, there were people from California.
No, really? Wow.
Justin Amash flew in from Michigan, of course. He's
Yeah,
been really
right.
outspoken. I mean, a lot of the people that this has been an issue they've been speaking out a ton about showed up, but I was sort of stunned, and then I was like, wait, this is their job. Why
But that's what's so
Why
stunning.
should I be
Isn't
so
that sad?
surprised that there are so
but
many
you would
of them
think
here?
if 70 or 80 were able to come back for this,
Yeah.
Why didn't the president call a special session?
Right.
The way David Cameron did. Why didn't he say, get your ass back in town on Tuesday, and we're going to have a debate and vote on Tuesday? Why wait a week?
I think he wants some time to win hearts and minds, right? I think he needs they don't want to have a vote and have it fail. So they want to get their ducks in a row. They want to pressure the Hill. They want to kind of see what the vote layout would be. And this gives them some time to do that.
I understand John Boehner also advised against a special session, saying it'll be time enough when we get back. Now, either again because he knew the votes weren't there, or because he didn't want to piss off his members by having them have to come back.
Well, there
early.
are quite a few that are ready and saying they want to come back early. I mean, it's not surprising that if you care about this issue deeply, that you would want to come back and get into it. But I do think that leaders need a minute to feel out their members and see where their members stand. I was told that they weren't going to whip votes, meaning they're not going to pressure members into voting one way or the other. But I think that they will want to come up with a strategy should the votes not be there.
So, and then on Sunday, there were a round of phone calls. I think there was a phone briefing there was with members of the administration on the phone for members of Congress who couldn't come back to Washington. Today, just about an hour from now, the president is meeting with the bipartisan leadership of the Congress and the chairs of the appropriate committees in the House and the Senate. And then this afternoon, a hearing with the Senate Foreign Relations Committee with Secretary of Defense Hagel, Secretary of State John Kerry, Intelligence Director James Clapper, and I think NSA Director Susan Rice.
It's going to be, I didn't see Susan Rice's name on there.
Maybe she's not there. The others are.
Yeah.
And so this is a pretty heavy-duty lineup here.
Yeah.
So, I mean, no doubt, the administration is going to be full court press, right?
Yeah.
Full bore this week to line up the votes. Because if the vote were held today,
it would not pass.
Would not pass.
Yeah. I'm pretty confident
That's
of
what
that.
most people
Yeah, I did not see, maybe in the Senate it would pass just because I haven't heard enough senators talk about it, but I'm pretty sure it would fail in the House. But even guys like, John McCain and Lindsey Graham who do want to see an aggressive response in Syria, they don't like this plan either. They don't like the president's plan either. They say it's too open-ended.
Yeah.
or it doesn't have enough of a plan of attack, I guess, is what they are arguing. An interesting development on Sunday was Patrick Leahy, Vermont senator, chairman of the Judiciary Committee, said that he and a few others were going to be working on redrafting the language of the resolution, so it's a lot more specific. It has an end date, which a lot of people were really worried that, the president is saying this is a very targeted strike, but the resolution doesn't really reflect his words about how specific it would be.
And that's not unusual for the president to send a proposal to Congress, and then Congress says, well, let's tinker with it, and we'll, massage it a little bit, and then...
Yeah, it's not unusual, but I think what a lot of members saw was, okay, the president says he just wants to do these very direct, small attacks to send Assad a message. But if you looked at the language of the draft resolution that would allow them to do that, it really was very vague about the scope of an attack. So their fear was that, okay, we could say that it's really specific, but this resolution approves, an endless.
All right, so here's the question.
Yeah.
I would agree with your assessment, and I'm not on the Hill the way you are, that if the vote were held today, it would not pass. So they come back a week from yesterday, come back next Monday. Given the way this Congress works, how long is it going to take them to gear up, to debate, and to vote? Will they get it done next week, or is this going to drag out? What do you think?
I think they'll get it done next week.
Next week?
Yeah, I think leadership.
They'll
move really quickly, and they're also...
They have to, I believe.
They have
because
to. And they also have been really trying to provide a lot of opportunity for members this week to get a lot of information.
To do their homework, basically.
And hopefully they will do it.
Now, some 200 members of Congress, House and the Senate, said on Syria, yeah, this is fine, whatever the president's thinking, but we got to roll here. We want to vote.
Right.
We want to vote. Then the president said, all right, you got it. Seriously, are they happy to have it, or do you think some of them regret having it? Because they're going to have to stand up now, right? And be on the record.
I think a few of them maybe... I don't think anyone who called for it regrets it, because most of those people are probably knew how they were going to vote or felt strongly about how they were going to vote. You will hear certain members who say this sets just a terrible precedent. If it doesn't pass, what does that mean for future presidents? You're stripping the commander-in-chief.
Which John McCain said
of
yesterday.
His title. Yeah, exactly. And that is... but the folks in the middle, the people who haven't really said one way or the other, how they either feel about intervening in the conflict or how they feel about taking a vote. I don't know how.
All right. Now here's the big question, of course. What if they vote? Congress has a full debate, full-fledged debate, and they vote no. What does Obama do?
That's a great question that we haven't heard an answer to. But,
President Obama has indicated he'd still have the authority to order a strike without Congress, but dare he do so?
They said he still has the authority.
John Kerry made that point again yesterday. Yes.
Steny Hoyer said it yesterday. He believed that he had the authority, but my colleague Evan McMorris-Santor, who works over in the White House, he wrote the story on Saturday that the White House just won't even entertain it, or they're not saying what their plan is. And then John Kerry said, I believe on Meet the Press yesterday, that's not even on our radar screen. I think it's going to pass.
But yeah, I know they have to say that, but they also have to have a plan. And we asked Congresswoman Eleanor Holmes Norton this morning if Congress votes no, should the president or could the president go unilaterally? And she said, no way. No
she said that.
way.
Wow.
Right. And by the way, and also indicated that reluctantly she feels that that there should be a response, which seemed to indicate to us that she means she would vote for it,
Right.
reluctantly. But she said, if Congress votes no, no way the president can go unilaterally. No way the president can go it alone.
I think there would be a lot of backlash. He would need to really work to try and get some more international support. That was another thing I heard yesterday from several Republican members who are generally supportive of striking, but didn't want to do it by ourselves. Why are we the ones that have to do that? And talking that they would like to see the president work to try and gain some more international support for this.
So weigh in here on the big issue of the day. Did the president do the right thing on giving Congress the opportunity to debate and to vote before taking the move? Or does this just mean we've waited too long and will not have any impact if we finally do strike? And again, the big question, if Congress votes no, and they well might, what does Obama do then? 866-55-PRESS. Kate Nocera here from Buzzfeed.
This is the Bill Press Show. Like politics? Then like The Bill Press Show on Facebook. This is The Bill Press Show.
Hey, it's 12 minutes now before the top of the hour. Kate Nocera covers Congress for Buzzfeed, and she is here in studio with us. this Tuesday morning, September 3rd. Thanks for getting up early for us.
Of course.
Neighbor.
Yeah.
This is not
That's right.
that hard getting
Not
in
that
here
bad.
early in the morning. And we're looking forward to your comments and your calls on the situation in Syria. Now up to the Congress, and leaders of Congress have already said, Mr. President, even if we support you, this draft resolution you sent us is a little too broadly drawn. We want to tinker with it, add some deadlines and some limits to it, make it a little more limited action. And that's probably what they'll end up voting on. Peter?
Yeah, quick story, because you remember a couple months ago in West Texas, there was that fertilizer factory that exploded, killed 15 people, injured 200 others. There was a meeting of regulators
including,
around,
I think, 10 first responders, right? It was really tragic.
Terrible story, but there was a meeting of regulators in Texas last week, and it turns out that there are 5 facilities in Texas with large quantities of that same fertilizer, the ammonium nitrate, that regulators have showed up, fire inspectors have shown up to take a look at and see what they could do to make it safer, and those plants have turned them away.
Really?
5 different plants have turned them away and said, you don't have a right to come in there. There is no real state fire code around these types of buildings in Texas because, regulation is bad.
Yeah.
So they've turned them away. So there are 5 really dangerous fertilizer plants in Texas that have sort of opened themselves up to the same kind of explosion and same accident.
Talk about a ticking time bomb.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kate, back to Syria and what Congress might do with it. How is the opposition lining up? I mean, there are even some Democrats who are opposed to this.
Oh my, yeah. I mean, it's the weird coalition. It's the same sort of weird coalition that you saw on the NSA stuff. To the super liberal Democrats and the very conservative, young, libertarian-leaning Republicans. There's a lot of the younger guys, the 2010 guys that came in that class are pretty opposed to intervening.
So you've got those on the left who are genuinely very skeptical of the use of military force, maybe not always against it, and then those on the right who either just don't want Obama to look good, or want Obama to look bad, or think this is too much government,
or they favor a more more isolationist policies than previous, Republican Congresses before.
And earlier you said something which Congresswoman Eleanor Holmes Norton had told us, that it's unlikely that either side is going to whip this vote, meaning for those of us who are not on the floor of the Congress every day, right? That the leadership is not going to get out there twisting arms and saying, we need this vote, you've got to vote this way. They're going to leave it up to their conscience, vote their conscience, right?
That's what they were saying. I was talking to Javier Becerra, who's a California Democrat, chairman of the Democratic caucus, and he just said, he was very hesitant, and he would not give us an answer as to how he might vote, that he wanted more information and maybe a tighter resolution that was a little more specific. But he just said, this is a supreme vote any member of Congress can take. It would be wrong for us to whip. But at the end of the day, if the White House needs us to pass and Nancy Pelosi can get Democrats
I got to tell you, man, if you don't whip a vote, you don't get the vote. That would be my read. Let's say a quick hello to Howard. Howard's calling from up in Syracuse, listening on the TuneIn app on his good cell phone, smartphone. Hey, Howard.
Hey, Bill. How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing good. Thanks for joining us. What do you think we ought to do here?
Thank you. I don't have Kate's sources or yours. Obviously, I just know what I read and what I see. But I think that President Obama really feared the possibility of an impeachment charge if he had gone ahead without congressional approval. You look at what Senator Tom Coburn said just a week or two ago. At that point, before anything had even happened with going into Syria, Coburn said that Obama was perilously close to impeachment. I think if he had gone in without congressional approval, you would have seen impeachment charges filed the next day. And I think the president just didn't want his last 3 years totally paralyzed with that kind of a dragged out procession.
Yeah. No, that could very well be, Howard. I appreciate the call. I think the president really does believe what he said in 2007 and is living up to it now.
Mm-hmm.
That if a president is going to order American troops into military action, he should not and does not have the authority to do so without a vote of Congress.
I think it's been interesting to kind of watch him change a bit.
Yes.
And then I do think at the end of the day, he had 100 and something members say we need you to have us hold a vote because that's what's constitutionally members of both parties. It's hard to ignore that.
It is. And I think from what we've read, members of his staff were surprised when he called them in and said, hey, all right, I hear you, but I'm not going to do this without having a Congress vote. Which makes your job all the more interesting and all the more important, Kate.
That's right. Suddenly it became a Congress story.
Yes.
And here I am.
And that's why we have to stay in close touch with you and get you back in again. Thanks so much for coming in today.
Thank you for having me.
This is the Bill Press Show. The Parting Shot with Bill Press. This is the Bill Press Show.
Hey, just a final thought. I believe President Obama made the right move legally, morally, and politically by calling on Congress to debate and vote on Syria. Legally, no president has the authority to take our nation to war without the support of Congress, according to the Constitution and the War Powers Act. Morally, we don't want any president making a unilateral decision like that. Unlike Syria, we are not a dictatorship. And politically, Obama puts Congress to the test. They demanded a chance to vote, and now they've got it. They say that they're tough on national security. Well, now they've got a chance to prove it. Look, we don't know what the hell members of Congress will do in the end, but whatever decision they make, I believe President Obama did the right thing in calling forth their vote. All right, we're back at it on this Tuesday. Have a great day, folks. We'll see you back here again tomorrow morning.
This is the Bill Press Show.